Right. Tabs match. Now to a line. It's trying to dry on me. Stop that. Pressing with force. Just enough to control that squeeze out. Okay. Well, you may notice something else, that they're not perfectly level. They're kind of, this one's going this way, this one's going this way. It's a good thing that these are thick enough that I'll be able to play with that. Okay, for this leg of the trip, I have a kit of Dremel burrs. All kinds of different types in here. I like to use a type like this. It's got a round end but a flat side, more than I like to use, say, this egg-shaped one, because this egg-shaped one can put a divot in an area where you don't want it. And say something like this one, which is flat and has a sharp edge, can put a gouge into it. So this, with a small, rounded, smooth edge, would work best. You want it smooth to the fingers. So when I stick my finger in here, I don't want to be able to feel the difference between any portion in there, and I don't want to feel those tabs. And I don't. That's done. Believe it or not, where I'm running my finger through, right here where these tabs are giving me a bit of a problem. Alright, off camera work. Got it done. Okay. It's pretty smooth on the inside. I like that. Cool. Okay. Now we're on the point of shape deciding. The burls like this, I like to not put too much of a curve in here, though you can. These are usually thin enough that you can put a curve into them a little bit, and you can always wet them and then apply them to, say, something like this to fit in that curve. So it'll do it. You probably don't even have to wet it. And I'm still deciding, what shape do I want to do these on? Do I want to do the same, or do I want to change the shape? Oh, I haven't taken care of the inside of that yet. Oh, one more thing. Where'd it go? Back to this thing. So, I've taken these two, and I've pretty much ground them out on the inside. I have changed their thickness. Now, from experience, I've made sure not to ground that too much, and I know I needed that ½ inch in there, or that half size in there. It was 9 or 8.5, and that is 9. That might be too little. I might take another quarter off, just sanding. So maybe 8.25 might be a good place to start, because that's pretty close. Oh, this side's not the same size. Yeah, this is definitely the smaller side. It's going to need some more sanding. But yeah, that is something to be cognizant of. Okay, so back on to the other part. Shape. There is more shapes that you can get out of these than just round. Right now we're just focusing on round. So I'm thinking I'm going to put a slight bevel on these. Just a slight one. With my half round. There it is. So I'm going to put a slight one on there. Not much. And on these, I'm going to go for a thin band. And I'm going to focus on a face. So this area right here will be the face on this one, because that's where the tab is. And this area for a face on this one, because that's where, again, that's where the tab is. So I look at the tab, and right after that is where the face is going to be. So that tab is my default marker, my de facto marker. And now that I know where the face is going to be, I can clean up the rest of this. So this is going to be a little bit of a task. Getting a little thin there, isn't it? Okay. There's my barrels. So there are obviously different thicknesses on here. There's obviously different areas with different thicknesses on here. Like this. Is that focused on too much, maybe? So I keep trying to make it rotate around itself. There's a bump on there that I didn't seem to focus enough on, or is that just an odd shape? Oh well. Now that I've gotten this done, my face here, my face there. So now I need to determine the shape. Okay. And now to remove all of the excess. You could do this any way you want to. Clean up those corners. You could do that with this, and you know where to start. This is a little annoying to do in front of the camera because it requires me to hold myself at an odd angle. There we go. That's motion. We're getting somewhere in there. Okay. So yeah, just keep this up until you get somewhere with it. Takes a lot of work to make a shape. Takes a lot less work just to use the basic shape, but if you want a shape like this, you're going to have to put some labor into it. Okay, I think I'm having a little bit of reaction. When Superglue gets real hot, it stinks to high heaven. And in some of these spots, I burnt it, which I was trying real hard not to do. But I'll tell you, it takes a lot of delicacy to work a bench grinder or bench sander, because I accidentally, remember, this whole thing was super thick and I got it real thin on the band, almost too thin. So now, let's go over all of these edges with the sandpaper until they're nice and round and smooth. Well, I want some of it I want round, some of it I want a little sharp. Such as down here, I want this round, and I want this edge to stay sharp right there. That be round, that stay sharp. So while I do this, I just do a nice little wipe away, and you'll see the nice sanded pieces, because after that, it's the final touches and we're done. This is also the first time you get to see that center piece in its extraordinary detail. Okay, I don't want to use that big piece for that. I have these smaller pieces that end up tearing apart. That's 400. I don't see it. Where'd they go? I have too much crap on my table. Alright, so I'm just going to start tearing these apart. Oh, that's better. Yeah, small pieces of sandpaper. Okay, we're at the last leg of this. These have been given a good sanding. Okay, these have been given a good sanding. And they're about complete. Just some small detail work in here, clean up. And they'll be ready to finish up. So those are done. Put those aside. Now the ones we're working on now are these. I'm about to sneeze. Bless me. Okay, I sneezed. All right. We're getting these, their edges. This is mostly flat. And I dropped them. They are mostly flat. I didn't put the curve onto them that I thought I might. I decided against it. Now, one consideration is I didn't make it very thin on this. I'm thinking I should have made it thinner like I did on this one. This one's not quite there. That's just a characteristic of it. And I still haven't taken care of that yet. And as I did with these when I cleaned all that out, that will be taken care of when I clean out these on this one. So there's no need to have that done yet. Step one. that is going to get adhered. Come here, glue. This is the same type of steps that we did with the other ones when we had the center stripe. Same thing we did when we were joining the two pieces here. Doing the same thing here. Oh, excuse me, my nose is still not liking the sanding I did on this. I should have worn a respirator. I have people who are yelling at me to wear a respirator more often. And they're right, I should. I love them, they love me. Okay, let's see here. How will you work? A little bit. Ooh, really close. Okay, that's gonna work. Okay, that's done on one. Go on two. Same exact thing. This ring is either bigger or actually cut those smaller. Either or. This is not working. So, literally sanding down an edge. That'll guarantee be enough on there. The two sanded edges shall meet. Put the grain the same way. Okay. Two edges shall meet. Oh wow, it's still not big enough. Come here, scissors. That is a tiny little goof up I made right there. Look at that, I had to take 3 pieces to make the one. That's not good. Off with the excess. Okay. And now, to get really liberal in this area. Okay. I'm actually choosing the direction of the wood grain on this one. For the prior layers, it doesn't matter. And I'm lining it up with the face to run left to right on the ring. Okay, so there's the top of the ring. The grain will now run this way. Give it a smoosh. Okay. That's a Frankenstein mess right there. But this second layer is not as important as this outer layer. There we go. Duplicate on this side. And this ring will be done. Or I should say, this ring will be ready. In fact, let me trim this excess off. The Frankenstein piece like that, it is a little delicate. So I'd rather have this gone. Whew. I'm sending pieces flying. Okay. Less of a Frankenstein piece, more of a safe work area. Now I won't accidentally pull something and make it fall apart. Progress. I'm going to give that a minute to settle, and I'm going to trim that one up too. That one worked out so much better. I didn't take as much caution in making sure these pieces were the right size. Alright, so this one has a different end game on it, but I do want to use these on it as well. This one has a curve on the end, like I was planning on doing for the other ones. You guys love watching my wrist, don't you? Alright, so because of the curve on this one, I'll have to hold it manually until it sets. Cue the music. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Okay, I'll just not record the rest of this. Put my hairs in the camera so many times. You probably count how many hairs I have on my wrist. For that, I apologize. I know it's not what you're here for. Doop doop. Okay. I would love to press this on, say, the mat that I have down there like I have the other ones. That'd make it so much easier. But I can't. I gotta hold it like this. Alright. Whenever I work on stuff, I just seem to generate the biggest mess. Keeping it out of frame. Every time I finish a project, I promise myself to clean up my workspace so I can start anew. It's time to clean. Okay. Here is this ring. I had some spots on here I wanted to get some glue on to help clean up, and I did that last night. And just so you know, I'm only doing this like one little bit a day. No, it wasn't good enough. I have some separation here. It's time to reglue. Let's see if we can't continue anew. Oh. Superglue spots. Wanna watch this up close? See the superglue spots? Yeah. This is the accelerant. In a second, we're going to see it turn from its transparent nature into a solid nature. And usually when this happens, I can see it happening. You may not be able to see it, but it is changing from a very nice fluid droplet formation to a little bit rougher. It's still wet, so it hasn't completely cured, but this is how this works. Spritz. Ah, there it goes. You might start seeing it now. It's being a little bit more milky. There we go. That's solidified. In the true fashion of the silicone mat, it comes right up. So this is why I don't like to use the accelerant on cosmetic pieces, because it turns it milky. The fumes get trapped inside of it. One of the things that happens when this, I think that's the only piece. One of the things that happens when this dries is that it lets off a plume of smoke that gets up your nose and burns, and that is what's trapped in here. So yeah, that's what the accelerant does, and that's why it's so neat. Now I get to hold it for 30 seconds. Do 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 do. It's not enough. All right. So at this point in time, I'd get a little clamp, and I'm going to clamp it down to hold it while I'm not looking. Whew. So I decided to saturate it with more glue. And this is a chip clip that I bought from the grocery store, and it's going to do my job. So you go over here. How are you two doing? Oh, incidentally, I got glue all over my fingers. I glued my fingers. Okay. So let's position this better on camera. Well, someone's glued together a lot better. Cool. Fiddlesticks. What happened to my glue up yesterday? I guess I just didn't apply enough pressure. The worst part about it is this is the cosmetic edge. All right, I'm using the 150 because it's thin, penetrates a little bit, but does not penetrate too much. Come on now. Oh boy, I get to hold it here for a while again. This didn't happen in my last build, probably because I did it off camera. Everything works perfectly off camera. That is always the way it works. Okay, this blue shop towel is to help pick up the excess, because the glue is too thick to seep into the wood, guaranteed every single time, so use that to save yourself from sticky fingers. Whoops, just gave myself sticky fingers. Go. We get a ring assembly and repair techniques all in the same go. It all involves getting super glue all over your fingers. So do I assume... Oh, this one seems like it's done much better. It's not coming off. There we go, one we could start with. And now let's prove me wrong. Oh, oh. Stab number 1. Well, that's really good. I just want to let go. Give me my knife back. Well. Ow. That was my thumb skin. This is the problem with super glue. It sticks to skin better than any other material around. You think what I'm thinking? Think I should use that penetrative glue on here too? Yeah, we have like minds. I swear on the other ones it did not need this much. This might be because of the different wood. I did use a different wood on the exterior. It was a softer wood. It was this wood. That is what was used on the exterior. And this is much softer. It's not as brittle as this wood. Is that the one I used? Looks like it. Yeah. So different types of wood are giving me different problems. So it looks like this more brittle wood needs to be saturated with the Superglue. Now my fingers have this armor layer +1 protection against splinters. Oh, and since I'm mentioning it, super glue will come off of your fingers in a couple hours. You don't really need to actively work to take it off. That's why I don't care right now, and I'm not freaking out. Only thing I'm going to do is take a shower, and by the time I'm done with the shower, this is all going to be off of my fingers. Just about. You freaking brittle wood. Yay! It's hollow again. It looks like such a freaking mess. Oh, no. Okay. Got glue on the mat. Ah! This is a good enough hole, by the way. I don't have to follow the outside of the ring. It just makes the job easier in the long run, as it's pretty easy to do that. So here's a good example of how these woods are behaving differently. Top one is chipping away while the bottom one splinters and bends. All right. Ain't that a beauty? Ouch. I felt that. Okay, so one more thing on these glues is if it dries... Oh, what did not happen? I guess it didn't do this area. If you happen to get it on your fingers in the wet form in a large quantity, that's a little dangerous. Be careful. Because what happens in large volumes is the super glue dries. Remember I talked about those fumes? In the process of super glue drying, it also gets very hot. You remember me talking about them earlier when I was saturating them. They start getting warm to the touch. That's what happens. And you can give yourself mild first, and if it's real bad, second-degree burns. I've never seen cases of third-degree burns from super glue, but you might get a hot spot on your finger. And it lasts for just a second. Don't panic. It'll end. It ends very quickly. You can dilute it by literally squeezing your hands and rubbing it around like this, and that'll dilute it and spread it around so it's not as hot on your fingers. That's a trick. And if you don't want to risk this, just wipe your finger on something, anything. This table's made of wood, so I'll wipe it on that, and it's also a good reason to have these around. I also have this paper right here. I can wipe it on anything that's absorbent. Just get it off your finger. I don't care if you put it on this mat. Get it off your finger. If you feel that burn start to happen, just get in the habit of that. Because I've done it many times. I was in a call one time, and I was gluing something together, and I was doing the pinch method. So I had the piece in my hand like this, and I was holding it together. And all of a sudden I felt the burn, and it was an intense heat. Now, it was intense enough to make a red mark. It's a first-degree burn. I didn't get a blister on it or anything. It was just painful. So it's more likely to give you a first-degree burn. Don't freak out about it. Just get it off your finger. Oh yeah, safety concerns. Let's it's no big deal. Not gonna eat ya. You'll be fine. Okay. All right. And now a word from our sponsors. Respirators. Do you have a respirator? Well, this guy does. And I'm not wearing it. So I'm literally not trying too hard on this. I'm just showing you that it can be done. I need to put a respirator on because yesterday when I did this on the belt sander, I got way too much dust in the air, and super glue dust sucks. It really does. So I need to wear one before I get all this done, which makes it very hard to talk. So for now, I'll just do it lightly and make lewd comments. All right, here we are a few moments later. I've got the inside of that pretty much done. Gives us a little window into what we're getting into. And with the experiment, well, not experiment, I've done like only these so far with the ring on the inside. So this is the first one I'm doing with the ring on the outside. So this is an experiment slash test. And though I've done a successful one with the lighter wood on the outside, this outer wood continues to give me problems. Can't see it too well, but I've had to go back and touch it up several times. Like the lightest one is right there. I might have to go back on that one, make sure it's going to stick. And it looks like it is. But here is one where I've done the top and the bottom. Focus, please. There we go. So it's got a nice light ring around it with the brownish on the outside. So this is not done. It's going to need some sanding. And it's still got a long ways to go before it is an acceptable ring form like this. So we're just beginning. Well, okay, no, we're not just beginning. We're just getting to the part where it's getting its final look. So this one has a really thin band right here, and I don't like taking it to the sandpaper any more than I have to. So I am doing this by hand, and I'm doing it delicately. It's a little bitty piece of sandpaper, isn't it? I'm going to go over here and grab a piece like this, a little larger, do the same thing with it. And you see how quickly that works. Okay. All right. So the right sandpaper makes all the difference. This is this 120? That's 400. This should be 120. It doesn't feel like 220. Maybe it is 220. Where's my 220? I have a collection of sandpaper over here. It's not a question I should be asking. Ah, it's 220. Okay. Yeah, it's 220. Fresh piece of 220, and it's working just fine. So I'll use that, and I'll go over a whole thing because that's just too thin. And once we do that, we'll have a surface ready for engraving. Yay. That'll be another thing.